we knew they were coming, right? It was pretty much all the dirt sheets were leaking it. Everyone in the business behind the scenes seemingly knew they were coming. They were all prepped. The QR codes were popping up. We're going to be there Monday, basically. We all knew. We were all anticipating it. We were all waiting for it. And so, I mean, I'm not going to spend time. Well, I don't know. This Raw was really great, man. Lots of story progression, lots of layers of character work. I don't want to play this because I'll get Don Stevens. It's been happening. The more the channel blows up, the more like people want to pull you down. You know what I mean? They all want to start claiming your stuff. So, yeah, man, we had a Money in the Bank qualifying match, Uso versus Mysterio versus Balor. I believe that was the main event, if I'm not mistaken. We had a Money in the Bank qualifying match, Zelina Vega versus Kiana James, and we had Dragon Lee versus Carlito. I think some other matches went down, but that's what was announced beforehand. But when the show kicked off, burn it down. And yeah, it was Seth Rollins came out of nowhere. And it was like, yes, dude, like, it popped me hard. I like his new, I don't know what his outfit is. I don't know. He's all like Wilson Fisked out, kind of like, I like that. You see this picture here. It would be cool if he transitioned from this like to the suit with the round hat type deal. You know what I mean? I think that would be a good move for Seth. He challenges Damian Priest. And I don't know, man, were you guys feeling like Priest to me sounded kind of, damn, he was kind of forcing it. Like he's phoning this, not phoning it, and maybe he's going through something personally. I don't know, but like Priest just seemed off this whole Raw. Like he just didn't seem like, it seems like they're trying to make him be babyface and he just wasn't fully enthralled in it the way, whatever. I'll play a clip of this and I hope I don't get pulled down. I'll just like go down here so you guys.
Don't worry about any ladders. Don't worry about any briefcase. At Money in the Bank, how about it's Seth freaking Rollins versus Damian El Campeón Priest for the world title?
So like big baby face move, I'll challenge you. I don't know, just Priest seemed off. He seemed off the whole Raw to me. I don't know.
You ain't serious, are you? This is a trap. Your boy's going to come out and jump me now? Is that what this is? I know you.
No, there's nobody coming out. They don't even know I'm out here. This is between you.
I don't know. He's kind of fumbling. If you guys can, this is between you. Forget no briefcase. I don't know. He's kind of messing up a bit, but it's all good. So we're getting these messages throughout the night. We're here. Blah, 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 blah. It was a good segment though. Strowman and Chad Gable goes down. Strowman beats Chad Gable. Otis snaps. I can't play it, but he's like, nah, to hell with you. You know, Gable shaming Maxine and etc. They walk off. Tozawa's like crying. Otis is angry. Maxine is emotional, but she's going to stick by Otis. All good stuff. Great story progression. I'm telling you, this Raw was like all story work, great stuff. But Strowman kind of squashed Gable, which was crazy. Triggered some people. So then we had a qualifier, Zelina Vega, Kiana James, and Io Sky. And Io Sky got the win with a moonsault. Kiana James... I saw some people on X being like, why was she there to whatever. Liv Morgan came out. Like, why would you pin her? And it's like, well, that's why she was there. Sorry, I misspoke. That's why she was there, was to get pinned, but people, well, you got to push her. Nah, start her as a jobber. And then they just called her up out of nowhere. So they clearly see her as like enhancement talent level stuff right now, like not hating on Kiana, but her time will come, man. Like she's got a lot of time. Don't worry about her doing a job to the former women's world champ in a triple threat, So Zelina Vega gets distracted by Liv. She's wearing Dom's purple cowboy vest, and during the show, there's one of the through lines is like Dom's like, "Where's my purple cowboy vest?" And then Liv Morgan's wearing it, and then she's like, "Okay, you can have it, daddy, but you got to take it off me." And it's just like, God damn it, Dom. His wife's a 10, Rhea's a 10, Liv's a 10. What is going on here? Dom needs help, man. He's calling for help. Conan! Oh, man. Call me, Dom. I'll help you out, bro. No, but listen. It was a good little whatever, it was a good little finish. Zelina's really good at like selling and acting and doing her facials and that's all things she's really good at. In ring, as far as like laying the in and do, I mean, she's whatever, you know. I would say James is even better than her, but Sky won, the right woman won for sure. Do you guys think Io wins women's Money in the Bank? It's too early to predict, but I could see Io, or did she have it before? Yeah, actually, see, I'm talking out of my ass. See, we'll think about that later. We don't even know who's all qualified. So, anyways, Sami Zayn finds 2 new challengers, and basically, Braun Breaker and Sheamus come out, and we got Zayn and Breaker. And I'm cool with all of that, but convoluted. And they're doing that to, when they do that, it's to keep people involved because the roster's bloated. And it's also to protect people a lot of the times, you know? So like Sheamus can take the pin by Breaker, who gets the title from, and then Breaker gets it from Sammy, but it's not really, or something like that. Maybe it's not that, but like, you guys understand what I mean. The previous match, right? Kiana James takes the fall so that Zelina stays strong in her title match against Liv, which will probably happen, and then she'll get fed to Liv. But, you know, but we keep Io, the one who, the former women's champ, should be in the Money in the Bank. You guys get it. That's why I listen to PWT. Yeah. We got Dragon Lee and Carlito. He's like Carlito, you know, Carlito Crude. Hey, there you go. In the Judgment Day. And he takes on Dragon Lee. Both these guys are just awesome. I just love them. I don't know. Carlito's just a legend. Dragon Lee to me is so over with me. And but this was like a whatever match, you know. And Carlito's trying to heal, but he's just sort of like, you want to cheer for. Even his music, he comes out with like the gothic Titantron video, but then it's like he's still doing like the dun, 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 the Caribbean cool music. Dun, 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 dun. It makes you want to, you know, like a pina colada or something. And so I don't know, but Carlito beats Dragon Lee, continuing along the LWO Legado Judgment Day. It's all, I guess Legato's split off now, but that's all been intertwined for a while, right? So we're just continuing this along. And then, so that's all right. Braun Breaker takes on Sheamus. Dude, I can't show this shot here, but they did here. I'll play it, but here. Yeah, so he spears him. Ludwig Kaiser beats up Sheamus. He's doing great character work, and he's involved in this too. Like Ludwig Kaiser, and who called it? Who called it? Who?
You what?
PWT, man. What have I been telling you guys? Yo, Ludwig's going to break off from Imperium. He's going to be huge, man. This guy's phenomenal. He looks great, cuts a great promo. They're giving him these vignettes where he's like in Italy or wherever he's like, you know, shopping designer and fine dining and all this, but not like in a European elitist sort of way, you know, not in like the classic like Ric Flair, woo. Very cool stuff they're doing with Ludwig. But they do this thing, man. Ludwig runs around the ring, and look at this shot. I cannot play it, I'll get pulled. Look at this shot, guys. He runs around, and then Braun runs around the other side and spears him. Dude, the camera work, like Kevin Dunn couldn't have gone away any quicker. Boom. Like, come on, man. You know, and then Braun, they're just booking him awesome. I was weary. I was like, dude, when Braun comes to main roster, like, how are they going to book this kid? Man, I was worried. You know, I'm sitting there going, he's doing some of his best work in NXT. It was the same thing with Tiffany, to where I still feel like they're trying to find that with Tiff. You know, she did a lot of her best stuff down below. So Braun, they're booking him perfectly. They brought him in. He's doing what he was doing in NXT. And he was able to get off that quickly, that like Baron Corbin comedy duo gimmick in NXT quickly, which was really, really, really good as well. So he can do the baby face kind of, hey, oh, like I'm a silly guy, or like he can be endearing and likable and whatnot. Joining us on the show now, folks, your friend and mine, the great, the almighty, the powerful, awful wrestling is on the show.
I like the tepid response. That was awesome. I like a more understated introduction. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Phil? You mother.
Oh my
Damn.
God. He comes in. First thing, he's dropping F-bombs. Well, we're about to get to the Wyatt Sicks, so I want your thoughts on that. Anyways, the main event goes down. While the main event's whatever. While it's going on, okay, while the main event goes on, and Uso wins, by the way, Jay, obviously Yeet. We are Yeet here. So while it's going on, they're setting up Gorilla, and they showed us Gorilla right before it happened. Everything, like whoever's backstage, they're quickly setting this all up quickly as this main event's going on. Uso goes in the crowd, I believe. The lights are out for him. Everyone's doing the day one-ish and doing the hand gestures. Everybody in the 303, put your hands up. That's what they do for Jey Uso. So they're all doing that. They're all doing that. And then boom, the lights go out. I cannot play it, folks. I'll play a little snippy. Here we go. Here, I can't play it, but you guys see it here. Lights go out. Boom, the door, the light reveal. Here, I'll scrub through it, but I won't actually play it. Now, I'm going to give my thoughts on this here. So you see the door, the smoke, the light beams through, everyone's cheering. You see Nikki Cross now crawl out with like a porcelain mask on. And oh my God, like that just looks so, dude, I was going, holy, it looks like the Ring. Absolutely. I was just like on the edge of my seat. I am getting tired of spooky in wrestling. You guys know that. I call it out all the time, but I had to mark out for this. I'm not going to lie. And everyone predicted the members correctly. It was kind of leaked. So they point backstage. The camera goes through. Now, what I would have done if it was me, she wouldn't have pointed and then the camera goes through. It would have been, he got so spooked that the camera guy runs off and you do a Blair Witch style where he's like, oh, and then he's running through the gorilla and he's like, oh, and then he like turns like a light on or so, like you do it Blair Witch style where he's like trying to get away from this weird. That's how I would have done it, because it seems weird. Like, why didn't they just beat down the camera guy? But also it's kayfabe. And also it could be like, well, we don't want to beat down the camera guy because we're trying to show the world, no, we're here now. So he's going to film it look at the destruction. We beat up 10 camera guys backstage. You don't see all the bodies. This guy is going to film it all. But me personally, I would have had him run off like, oh, this, and then like run backstage and then have him like stumble upon all the chaos and everything, and we get it sort of found footage style. That's how I would have did it. But it's not.
Why not just do it CCTV style?
There you go. So they go behind the curtain. Boom, smokes everywhere. Eric Rowan with the hammer. The Bludgeon Brothers homage there as well. And then he goes into Gorilla. Everyone's laid out. Gable's laid out. Everyone's memeing him, saying he's dead. I think I saw Braun Strowman laid out. You see, I think Gunther's laid out. You see Triple H. You see Bruce Pritchard. Like Adam.
Where do you see Triple H?
I don't know. People were saying like there. I've seen pictures where people have like a page where it's like, here's all the victims that were spotted. So I didn't go through with a fine-tooth comb and go, oh, okay, here's Triple H laying under this guy, and here's Bruce Pritchard holding a wrench and a cheeseburger. I didn't go and I didn't do Where's Waldo here, but this is what other people are saying. Like, people analyzed every little aspect of this video, every frame of it. And apparently Triple H is laid out somewhere, and so is Bruce Pritchard. Or I got God on X, but I think that's Braun. Is that Braun Strowman right there? And then you see Adam Pearce's Twitter got invaded as well. So now Chad Gable, everyone's like, oh, he got shot in the head. It's like, no, dude, he's cut. Like, it's obviously.
No, I said that. I said he got shot in the head there.
Well, lots of people are memeing it though. Everyone's like, oh, they killed Gable. And it's
how do you recover from this, Phil? I asked the same question yesterday. How does Chad Gable just blow this over and continue having his feud with Otis? Like, how does this happen?
From being cut in the head like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your answer. Ready? He doesn't. This is how Gable goes away for 2, 3, 4 weeks and then comes back with the Creed brothers fresh. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you do it right there. Like, Gable can go. He just got squashed by Braun and he's like, I'll show everyone. I'll show you. Write him off TV for 3 weeks and then he comes back. It's just a cut. We just saw Cody get bloodied. We saw Owens get bloodied, wrestle the next week, so it's just blood.
Yeah, but see, Cody got bloodied by his opponent,
right? By
his future opponent. Kevin Owens, I believe, got bloodied by his future opponent. Is Uncle Howdy going to be Chad Gable's future opponent?
Yeah, that could be someone else Uncle Howdy squashes, or it doesn't have to be Howdy. It could be like Gacy, or it could be any of these guys. Also, you got to think you got to think they beat everyone up backstage. So it's going to be everyone's on high alert. It's not like, because, okay, apparently Braun Strowman and Gunther were laid out in that pile too. So is Gunther and Braun and Gable going to all team up to go? No, it's just there's 5 dudes in this group. And now you got 5 guys who need singles matches and tag matches, et cetera, et cetera. And you got a bunch of guys beat up backstage. You got a lot of options. I think that's all they were. I think what they were the point they were trying to get across was like, which, okay, now I give AEW for this all the time as I turn Dynamite on here, but AEW does this all the time. That's the problem. AEW or WWE doesn't do this, where this group is sort of like a tweener. They're going to heel and do all this heel, but everyone's going to want to cheer them and put their fireflies up. So they beat up baby faces and heels backstage. So you have options for matches, depending on where the crowd's going to take it. You know what I mean, Awful? Like you have
but yeah. God, you're talking to a naysayer here, but I will say this: you're absolutely right. You're absolutely correct in that Triple H has garnered enough goodwill. The WWE has garnered enough goodwill that they can pull a jack move like this. They can experiment with this, and it still fail, because it will. And
you think it'll fail?
Yeah, of course.
In what regard? In what regard? In matches
People
or
will
drawing?
Turn on. Oh yeah. First of all, great question. As soon as the bell rings, this gets boring. They'll be just like every time that those mid-carders were in the ring before. Putting a mask on them isn't going to change a thing.
We have a super chat here. Round of applause, bro. Wrestling Russ. Oh, I got chills. I hope to God it translates well to the ring. I love it. Oh, so he said this before you were even saying that, Awful. He was already like, yeah, I hope it translates well to the ring. And I loved it. Not Strowman. Yeah, I mean, Russ, so Awful was sort of just addressing that. So you can continue on with what you were saying there, Awful.
Yeah, 5 weeks. That's what I'm giving it. 5 weeks. I'll tell you this. It does a great job of letting people know or getting people intrigued on what's going to happen next week, next Monday Night Raw, or maybe even possibly this Friday SmackDown, if they wish to continue it there. But as I see it now, man, this was a great production values. We are all expecting WWE to do great on that.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Now, just like I said yesterday on Toonie Talk, this is like watching a great episode of Sopranos, and the last 10 minutes, Thanos shows up and snaps his fingers and rolls out. It's such a disconnect from everything that we've seen. And everybody's like, oh, give it a chance. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it a chance. It's been given chances. It was already given 3 chances prior to this, and each time it failed.
But now, under Vince.
Okay, now it's under Triple H.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be better?
Yeah, because he's going to actually let them he's going to let this play out. Like, this is the biggest travesty ever.
Just like Vince allowed Bray.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No. Because Bray was trying to do his, and then Vince was like, yeah, I know. Put him back in the fun house. We got to sell some masks. Like, that's all he cared about. So this, like, who's buying these buzzard? Like, this isn't like a merch grab. And I actually want to thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. And I actually want to bring you into my my bookmarks here for this, because there are fans melting down. There's this one guy in particular. Oh, Phil, why do you give him shine? So you know what idiot to laugh at. This guy here, at ST Hole Leary. I don't know. This guy has the worst takes ever, probably in the IWC history, man. Next to Real One. And this guy's like, WWE is not honoring Bray Wyatt by bringing his gimmick back. They are trying to make money, and that's why it's not sitting right with me. I'd love to be wrong about this one. And this guy's like, this was Bo Dallas, Bray and Bray's wife idea, by the way. Bray's idea was to die and let his brother continue the gimmick. I hope he had better ideas. Man, are you kidding me? Dude, yeah, Bray never talked to his brother before he passed. God, man, these people piss me off. This guy is just like an AEW Shillington if there ever was one. Speaking of, well, I don't know. So my thoughts, I love it, and it's not about, oh, give it a chance. It's about it's going to work, man, and it is working, I think, so far. And if the original Wyatt family worked. I think they can make this work. Even they had that group Sanity that was really good and people wanted more of, but just Vince. Yeah, he doesn't know. He was in the way back then. I truly believe that, and I think Triple H will have a better vision and allow Bo Dallas to play this out. And also, you're like, when they get in the ring, well, okay, let's talk about it. Gacy's helping train all the new guys they bring into NXT. He's one of the guys helping get them all ready. Bo Dallas is a tremendous wrestler. No one's going to tell me that otherwise. Who else in the group? Eric Rowan's solid. He was in Wyatt family forever. Nikki Cross is an awesome wrestler. Ever since TNA, you know. Who else is in the group? Who's the other one? Dexter Loomis. He's awesome too. Like in ring, or as far as like all of his character work's always been good. So I think they're all seasoned vets. I think these are all people who I think this is going to work, man. I do personally. Awful. Give me your last thoughts on basically the Wyatt Sicks, and then let's talk about this Dynamite here.
It sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not too
Fair
much
enough,
to say
man.
afterwards.
Yeah, to each their own, man. So, folks, WWE said his name. He appeared. He's like the boogeyman. He's like Beetlejuice. They said Joe Hendry. He showed up. So what happened was WWE NXT on X, they put out a video, and it was all of the entrants into this battle royal. And the first person's music who hit was Frankie Kazarian. And he came out, and him and Joe Hendry, actually, if you guys aren't watching TNA and NXT are both must watch, in my opinion. And I've been saying, you guys know, we've been putting TNA over on this show forever. Kazarian comes out first. The crowd they don't really like pop hard, but when they realize who it is, they're like, oh, you know, they get loud for him. Everyone else comes out. The show goes on air now. So this is what the public's seeing. Javon Evans comes out with the worst trash music. Bouncy. It was the worst theme music I've ever heard for a guy who's as over as Javon. And then, dude, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. From London and Paris. And here, we'll play it, but I can't show it. But goddamn, this was really cool to see. I popped. This video got like 3.5 million views. To put that in context, I think I have it bookmarked on X, but Monet's, Okada's, and Ospreay's debuts combined are just shy or at about 2 million. Joe Hendry got 3.5 million for his, and people go, what does TNA gain out of this? Let's go right here. Listen to that pop. Whoa, let's play it again. Listen to this pop, guys. Listen to that. Whoa. You would think it was Cena was in the NXT zone again. The NXT zone. Here, sorry, I got the volume. Listen to this pop. Woo! Clap, clap. Claps in the chat, baby. I believe in Joe Hendry. And look at him, dude. And he comes out, and I don't know what he was doing. Like, was he trying to not look at the camera? Like, it seemed like he was struggling of like what to do a little bit, because he looks here, then he I know he's always like this, but a couple times there, he like, even when he did his backstage promo with Shawn Michaels after, we'll play that because that was like a social media clip. I think I have it bookmarked, but he's like talking with Michaels backstage, and he's like, he starts cutting a promo at the camera, and it's like, dude, come on now. I don't know. Maybe that's just what he does. Vince's whole thing was like, yeah, don't look at the camera unless you're doing HLA. Then you can look right into my eyes. Sorry. Okay, we're not going there. Here we go. But yeah, he makes his entrance. Brilliant stuff. And then he actually gets the mic, and we'll actually play his promo here. And this is what TNA gets for it on 3 million eyeballs. And, you know, NXT universe, they all get to see this. It's so amazing. And then in the Battle Royal, so he cuts a promo. Here, we'll play his promo, and then I'll tell you about the Battle Royal.
And he appears. Joe Hendry is here in NXT.
Yeah.
This Battle Royal was going to be 25 men. But let's be honest, it's 24 men and one sensation. That's because I'm going to walk down to that ring, eliminate every single one of you, go on to become NXT champion, and bring it back to TNA.
Now, they kind of boot him for that. Like, NXT doesn't want to see you take their belt to TNA. They want to see you come here and, you know, do some shit in NXT. But ultimately, we're going to see it, guys. Don't worry. Like, leading up to Mania, I'll X-Files myself. My fantasy mark booking is leading up to Mania. Stand and Deliver is like TNA versus NXT Invasion. And then you just, like, TNA should not cross over with the main roster whatsoever unless a main roster guy wants to go to TNA, like AJ Styles, who we'll talk about in a minute here. If they want to do that, cool. But I don't want to see TNA guys showing up on the main roster unless they're super over, or it's like someone who was on the main roster before or something like that. Unless it's also the Royal Rumble. Like if Joe Hendry came out at the Royal Rumble and then gets tossed over or whatever. Like, look at Jordan Grace. We've covered it a billion times. Jordan Grace was in last year's Rumble, this past Rumble, and she didn't eliminate anyone, but had the most memorable, like, everyone's still talking about it, you know? And so that's the only time I want to see TNA crossover with the main roster. Otherwise, just NXT. So Stand and Deliver this year, I would have it be culminate in like an NXT TNA invasion type thing, or you do that right before Mania and then there's some fallout. Like on Stand and Deliver, you can have like, yo, the TNA champ, like the TNA titles getting defended on this card and the NXT title and because this last year Stand and Deliver, it was a great show, and Julia Gulia was in the crowd, and it stood and delivered, like match wise and just the vibe and, you know, the whole Julia stuff. But with that being said, it was missing a little je ne sais quoi, you know, it was missing a little, I don't know what, a little something. You do the card like Invasion, but then you guys remember how like there was the Invasion pay-per-view, WCW, WWE, but then afterwards there was still like some aftermath, and we saw like at SummerSlam, there was some, you know, WCW versus WWE shit and all that stuff. What they need to do is do that with TNA, like have the full-on NXT TNA takeover. It's a great name for it too, right? You do that event officially where it's like a takeover event, and then maybe TNA does one where it's like a TNA versus NXT, and then they can cross promote like, yo, these are two events going down, two PLEs or whatever that they want to call it. Maybe, you know, TNA can do it just on TV, or they could make a pay-per-view out of it, whatever. But maybe they could each host their own like Invasion style shows, and then at the Stand and Deliver, it's just like typical Stand and Deliver, but there's a heavy TNA presence here, right? But then anyways, the Battle Royal. So here we'll finish playing this little promo here.
And when the title changes hands, the entire WWE universe will be chanting, "We believe."
We believe. We believe. We believe.
2 pounds of pure motivation. The answer to all life's problems. They believe in Joe Hendry.
Okay, so that's awesome, man. So what happens is everyone attacks Joe Hendry basically, and then Kazarian eliminates Hendry very first. I loved it. I know people, oh, what are they doing? Well, Kazarian and Hendry, and the crowd started chanting like they want more Joe Hendry. They want more Joe Hendry, and I want more Joe Hendry in NXT. He's been a star. He's underrated for a long time. He's been very underrated, and I believe, man, and I want more of it. There's a video of Shawn Michaels and Hendry after. Just stay looking at his pretty mug as I search this up. But yeah, there's a video of them like interacting, and I want to play it for you guys. And it's their social media. I wonder if WWE's, it's at 5 million views, Joe Hendry. The clip that we just listened to / watched, folks, it's at 5 million views, man. So just absolutely incredible. So yeah, Joe Hendry has gained over 3.5 million views. It's at 5 million already in just 15 hours though. So that's more views than the debuts of Okada, Ospreay, and Monet combined. I already told you guys that. And then I have another bookmark here. So here's Joe Hendry after the fact. Now this is their socials. And Michaels is like, I believe at the end of it. Hopefully something comes of this, you know, like more Joe Hendry, please. But I have a strong feeling it will. I think that there's certain guys they have on their radar, like Grace and Hendry. They'll be in WWE sooner than later. But yeah, let's watch this interaction.
Did you see that? King of TNA? He took the first shot.
So Kazarian throws him out. The crowd's so mad, but I put it over because I'm like, go figure. They do a crossover event, and what's happening? They're progressing TNA storylines and NXT storylines while still making it like, oh my God, anyone can show up and anything can happen. In AEW, we see it right now. No storylines are getting progressed. Perry and all these idiots are just jumping whoever. They're doing a crossover. Oh, Forbidden Door. And they're not even doing crossover storyline angles like this, where like New Japan stories are, they're just going, oh yeah, let's have Osprey, let's have Saber and Orange just team up. Team up in different teams against each other, then face off right before the pay-per-view. And because it's a dream match, like it's so stupid. This is how you do a Forbidden Door right here. And here's Hendry talking to Shawn Michaels.
Oh, and if it isn't Shawn Michaels, was that your idea out there? 24 men against me, Joe Hendry versus NXT. Well, you know what, Shawn? I can show up anywhere, anytime, on any show. Oh, you got.
See, why do you look at the camera there and then any show? What does that mean? You know, I'm going to watch NXT after this. Exactly. And TNA. And even if you pirate ship the TNA, I try not to. On YouTube, you can buy a thing and you can watch it. It's like $1 or $2. Watch it, dude. I'm telling you, TNA and NXT are must watch now. Here, I'm just trying to show NXT is still tough for me to watch. So much character work, bro. Prohibited portal. Exactly. This is how you do the prohibited portal. Okay. They're progressing TNA storylines between Kazarian and Hendry while also progressing the NXT storylines. And then Javon Evans ends up winning, and then he takes another match later in the night. I'm not going to dive into this whole card. What happens in NXT, though, is that they're all laid out like Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Sean Spears, and another guy. I'm so sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but they're all laid out. Javon. It's Javon, Sean Spears, Ethan Page, and Trick, and they're all laid out like in a 4-way with the belt in the middle of them, you know, like they're all laid out at the end. They all beat each other up, hit each other's moves on each other, and then they're all laying there, and the belt's in the middle of them with a great shot above everyone's heads. Looks brilliant, and it was just such a great way to end NXT, and that's the title match. Will be like a fatal 4-way for Trick next, and again, it's a way to protect all the guys and keep Trick strong, so I think we're getting a fatal 4-way. Absolutely right. Is NXT on Peacock? It should be, and you know, man, NXT, there you talk about like progression and what's progressive in wrestling and stuff. This is Shawn Michaels sees the vision. Like they have the women are the women there. The character work they're doing with the women is phenomenal. And then you have these like really good storylines with characters you can't help but get invested in. And it reminds me of old studio wrestling. So just if you enjoy like old NWA or even when Power came back, it just reminds me of that. And it's phenomenal. Here we go. So let's finish the rest of this here.
Let's say his name. I believe. Did you see
Shawn Michaels is goated. Shawn Michaels is goated, dude. Like, what is he doing? I believe, you know, like he knows what's up. He knows what to do. He knows exactly what's up. So, and then from there, you know, so we covered NXT. That was basically the gist of NXT. We can get into like Kalani Jordan. She's waiting to explode on the scene. I'm seeing the vision now. It surprised me when she won the North American title. She's ready for it. Oba Femi's the man. Lola Vice is that chick. Wes Lee's kind of fallen off with me, unfortunately. Fallon Henley is just phenomenal. What else can I put over on this show? The OC and Michin, they're just getting people over, doing their thing. I'm not really into Axiom and Nathan Frazier, not going to lie. You know, Ethan Page is doing great work. And then what's the one girl, Jada Parker? Ooh, she's ready to explode. You're talking about, I love Kalani Jordan, but just back up for a sec. Jada Parker's like the future, dude. She's the truth. She is the absolute truth. And yeah, so NXT was absolutely solid. This is the prohibited portal. This is how you really do the crossover You know what I mean? Multiverse of wrestling. I'm so sorry. It's, you know, and TNA did an event called Multiverses, I believe, and it phenomenal as well. But anyways, we're moving along here. So some controversy came, not controversy, but just some weird beef between. Now, I don't know if they're working. I don't know if they're shooting. Speaking of prohibited portal, though, before we get into the weird controversial beef or whatever, AJ Styles says, hopefully something like that happens, and he's willing to. He goes, I would say that hopefully something like that happens. It's good for not only talent in the WWE to go to TNA to come to WWE. It's better for the younger talent. See, guys, that's what I've been saying. They can go to TNA and work a guy in New Japan because they already have that deal. They don't got to worry about WWE and NXTs. You know what I mean? You can send a younger talent over to TNA to do a loop for 9 months. We can get a Josh Alexander into NXT or on the main roster, whatever. Like we can do these things, man, and it's only going to make people better. You know what I mean? Eric Young's a vet. He could come to NXT, get some younger guys over. Like he already worked in NXT. All the while, you know, who's a young guy like Jada Parker, who we're putting over, can go over and beat some of the knockouts. Or sorry, I'm ranting and raving, but AJ Styles is like, I'll go through the portal. Let's see it. You know, I would love to see if AJ went over and just you know, fought anyone. What's the story? What is the whatever? Well, the story they're slowly building is there's reason for TNA and NXT / potentially WWE talent to cross over. They're giving the reason. They're building it. They're showing you what the story is, right? The Battle Royal situation, right? Like, and Joe Hendry saying, I'll show up on any show. So, like, that's a guy who's so over. If he showed up on SmackDown, like, he's just got 5 million views. If he shows up on SmackDown, is anyone going to be mad? Like, hell no. You know what I mean? It's going to get over. It's going to get a bunch of views. So, yeah, exactly. Moose versus AJ. I'd watch that. So, money to be made. You know, Ant Evans, he was the UFC. He designed their Hall of Fame. He designed their everything, man. You know what I mean? All the dope, their Fight Pass. He worked with TNA before they became, he works closely with Scott D'Amore. He's coming on PWT podcast in a few weeks, folks, when he's back from vacation. And I interviewed him on Toonie Talk Wrestling, and he thinks TNA is going to get absorbed and won't even be a thing. Not even by WWE. He just thinks, like, just in general, like TNA will be gone in 18 months, he gives it. I don't think so, man. I disagree with him on that, and we're going to hash that out and dive deeper into that in a few weeks on PWT Pod. So if you're not, man, subscribe to @ProWrestleTimes. We're almost at 1,000 subs, man. I really want to get there. We're at, I think, 3,500 on this channel @ProWrestleClips. So make sure you subscribe to this one as well, and make sure you hit that like button. You guys can't miss the stuff I'm covering. Like, everyone's talking about, oh, Kevin Kelly suing AEW. I talked about that 2 days ago, guys. Like, the dirt sheets ain't, you know what I mean? I already dove deep. Everything you need to know is in PWT Pod. You know, we speculated on all the Tonga, Tongaloa, Hikaleo. We already talked about all that. Now it's happening. What's up? But yeah, AJ saying what your boy Phil Marks has been saying. I'm going, yo, it's good for the young talent. It's good for the vets. It's good for everyone. That's what AJ's saying. Great minds think alike. The earth is flat. No, just
Dummy. Yeah.
So good. Oh my goodness. So, but then some weird burned off of it that had to do with someone who I admire. I love, Steph DeLander, who's an absolute incredible talent, and Top Dolla, who you guys have opinions. So they start sort of talking back and forth to each other, real kind of deep, like knife cuts, where it's like, damn, really? You guys are really going at it over Joe Hendry here. So even wrestlers are getting after it. So basically, who went 5-0 on predictions for Clash? Phil. Exactly. And that's a common occurrence. That's not even a rare occurrence. Like, we need to do that. Someone needs to keep track. Someone in the PWT universe needs to keep track of all of my wrestling picks and like do a percentage on that. Like, how accurate. I watch all the PLEs with you guys. So anyway, Obafemi versus Moose. Oh, dude, Marty McFlyer would love that, man. He'd be screaming for Obafemi to end Moose, dude. Yeah, so Top Dolla, people call him Flop Dolla. I don't know about it. I like AJ Francis, honestly. The work he's doing in TNA as their digital media champion and before, phenomenal. Honestly, he took Rich Swann, former WWE Cruiserweight champion, who is super over. you know, had some like weird domestic dispute that was then all cleared up, but WWE said nope. And he's been with TNA ever since, done great work. But now he's like, they call him Rich Homie Swan instead of Rich Homie Quan. Hit the Quan, hit the Quan. And so, you know, Rich Homie Swan and Top Dollar, they're doing great stuff, man. It's going viral. People are, I love it. You know, I had a tweet that people were like, AJ retweeted it and everything, where I said, what was it? He had like some girl twerking on Joe Hendry. He knocked Joe Hendry out, and then he had some girls like twerking on him, doing the split on him. And I quote tweeted the video from TNA, and I go, "What in the Magic City on a Monday is going down here?" So, and AJ retweeted it, and he's doing just great, like stuff, like moments. He's like actually creating moments in TNA, sort of, right? Like not stuff that will stand the test of time, but like, dude, stuff that gets replayed and that will be replayed and will be remembered. Like I'll never forget some of that like that stripper, I don't know who that was, twerking on Hendry. Whatever, man, love him or hate him. Shout out AJ Francis. He starts, this is weird. So Steph DeLander, who I love, I'm a huge fan. Botch Dolla, everyone's going. Oh my god. I'm a huge fan of Steph DeLander, though, like big time. You guys know that. And she's in TNA as well, dude. And she's doing an angle with PCO where they're actually going to go on a date. She said oui to his love note, which means yes, en français, s'il vous plaît. They're going to go on a date. But Steph DeLander, Top Dollar says, one day, what I did for Joe. So like Lovely says, everyone should really thank AJ Francis for this. Now, Hendry was super over. But yes, dude, like, I'm sorry, Dolla's kind of right. Like Hendry's getting a lot of views for his TNA stuff that he's doing with Dolla. You know what I mean? Like that's where it really started. Like people were really getting behind this dude in the crowd. Joe, if you go back, watch like 2 or 3 or 4 episodes of Impact ago, you know, Joe Hendry's faces off with Dolla and the whole crowd is just singing Joe Hendry's, and they always do. And they were just so behind him, especially against Dolla, who's getting great heat. So one day what I did for Joe will be studied at wrestling school. In January, we barely made the TNA pre-show, which that pre-show, man, that's where the stripper was doing. It was phenomenal. And now look at both of us. I know his thing is say his name and he appears, but clearly say my name and people care. Which is just sort of like weird for Dolla to like put himself out there and be like, but he is right. But it's like, why? You don't need to like take credit for his, bro. Like you were let go by WWE. And you know what I mean? I'm not hating or anything, but you know, it just feels weird to like self-insert yourself into that. You know what I mean? And interject into that. But with that being said, Steph DeLander responds and goes, not Flop Dolla taking credit for another person's success, which is like, what would be their angle in TNA to where they're going to talk each other like this? You know what I mean? Max Caster looks, yeah, this has gone on way too long, guys. Are you kidding? We're talking about Flop Dolla here, okay? No, I love Top Dollar, AJ. I don't call him that. I don't like that Flop Dollars, but we're talking about AJ Francis here. And so Steph DeLander, like, why would she go not Flop Dolla taking credit for another person's success? It's weird that he interjected himself. It's pretty funny that she like stood up for Hendry or whatever she's doing here. But what would this be like TV-wise? Like, I'm just sitting here going like, they're not, unless like, we get PCO with DeLander in his corner fighting like Rich Homie Swan in Dolla's corner and for like the digital media championship. And we're building to that. Okay. You have something there. Dolla quote tweets her and goes savage as well. He goes, okay, let's do it. Quote, you got over 6 months too late. You on why you wouldn't date Joe Hendry anymore. So I think she used to actually date Joe Hendry, or he's just taking a shot like you're only date guys, like you only hang around Cardona, and they didn't date, I know, but you only hang around Cardona, and then you started dating Mance Warner, who shout out Mance Warner. He's over with me too, and he is over now too, like in GC Dub. I think he's their world champ. And here's the thing though, like, Mance will throw hands with Dolla, Dolla ain't afraid to throw hands. So like this could be a real thing brewing, or yes, PCO's going for that digital media title. You know what I mean? Either way, though, it was just weird for him to like do that, you know? And then she just owned him. Hopefully it's working towards like PCO standing up for her. Otherwise, like her real life man, Mance Warner, and him might have to have real life situation. And those guys will both throw mitts, you know? So I don't know. There's my Joe Hendry NXT Steph DeLander top Dolla drama review right there, folks. I don't know. No one's going to cover this either. That's why PWT's the go-to show, because like no one's going to talk about that